Hey, Readily Besties, welcome back to the Writing with Anna New podcast, where we talk about all things writing. In today's episode, I am so excited because I'm going to be talking about my characters. Guys, I hope you know how much I adore fangirling about my characters. I adore them so much. So, of course, in today's little episode, I am just beyond excited to gush over my favorite characters, my favorite OCs, my favorite people I've created, because honestly, I was thinking about this before I was about to start recording this, and I was just like, yeah, to be honest, when you think about it, creating someone is the most intimate thing, and being an author, being someone who creates these characters and pulls apart these characters and also puts little pieces of yourself within these characters. It's such an intimate little thing, and that's why honestly it's obvious that, your characters mean so much to you. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into some details about my favorite characters, why I love them especially, and yeah, just see if there's like maybe even any trend going on in regards to my favorite characters and how I create them, how I develop them, and everything like that. I'll stop rambling and let's get on to this episode. Okay, so I'm so glad you guys clicked on this video. Just like, it makes me so happy, but I'm going to be shedding light on my favorite characters. So my first favorite character is actually a new character I've recently developed, and I have been developing for like the last few weeks, and oh my gosh, guys. This is Alexander. His name is Alexander Lawler, and he is the conductor of my recent project I'm working on in regards to my Zero draft, and he's like the main character that the story kind of surrounds, and he's just a broken soul. And I guess like I'm still exploring who this character is, but I think the first thing that really captures me with Alex is his morals for the world, and is sort of like disregard to that. Does that make sense? So he kind of just follows his own world. Like, he's not part of the world. He doesn't care about anything that the world cares about. Does that make sense? So he's very much different to everyone, and he is a broken person. So I guess I kind of relate to a lot of things, but he's also different. And I think like Lewis, who's the second character of the book, the main character, and they end up becoming friends and stuff like that. I say that I would probably relate more so to Lewis, but perhaps the reason why I love Alex ever more so is because of the way he treats Lewis. Lewis, who is the violinist who he ends up taking in, is very poor. Lewis can't read, he can't write, he can't read music, but Alex literally doesn't care. And I think like a big theme about this Project Orchestra that I've talked about in a few of my episodes. Go check out my recent episodes if you guys want to learn more about this project. But yeah, the Lewis and Alexander, I think Alex just like, I don't know, he treats him like a real person, and he appreciates Lewis as a person when other people just look at him and see a poor runaway boy. And like, does that make sense? It's kind of like a foil, which kind of means that, one character shows this in another character. But I think it's still adamant throughout Alex and his life that, how he is as a character, I really just like, because he's different to me. Does that make sense? Which is very interesting. Okay, enough about Alex. I can talk about Alex for a long time, and I still am yet to really develop him. So that's why it's just very interesting that I have such a connection with him so quickly after, just coming up with Project O. My second favorite character. Let's go ahead and get on. I hope you guys know who it is. Like, this is probably my favorite character like I've ever created, and it's Amen. Oh my gosh. I could scream so hard and like blow your ears out because I love this man so much. Amen is, oh my gosh, I can't even like think about him without wanting to cry. He's just like the sweetest. Like, how cat owners, they see a kitten or even their own cat and they just like think it's so precious, so cute, so adorable. They just want to crush its head. That's how I feel. I want to crush Eamon's skull because I just want to hug him and never let him go. And he's a certain character who I guess I do relate to him a little bit, But again, he's very different to me in a lot of different ways. But also there's little like sort of quirks that he has that I think is just so innocent. And he's so like not sheltered, but he has such empathy for the world that he doesn't know, if that makes sense. And he wants to know more. And he's just so empathetic. And I think that's why I love him a lot, is because he's just grown up to be such a kind soul who wouldn't hurt a flower. Like, he's a certain person who's so gentle just in every single thing he does, and the little things that he does and notices. He's very particular and very just I don't know, he just like looks at life and takes every day, and he's so he serves, you know, he lives his life in servitude, and he just like it's just so hard to explain how much I love this man. And Amen is just so precious to me, and it's so hard to explain without me like explaining the whole book and like how he came to be and stuff like that. But Amen. I also love his name. I love his character. I love his character, and I think I should stop talking about Amen because I will talk about him for the whole episode. Okay, let's move on. So my third favorite is actually Jody. I haven't talked about Jody too much on this channel or this podcast. I don't even know. I think I maybe mentioned her a little bit, but Jody is a very interesting character. I really had a hard time finishing the book that she's in. She's in Project Prison, that I have talked about a little bit on my channel. I hope you guys are maybe familiar, but Jody has a very troubled life. And I think, I don't know why I like her so much. I just love, I don't even know, man. I don't know why she stands out so much to me. She's just very different. And I think just like I have a lot of empathy for her and what I've done to her in the book, which sometimes is that weird? Is that weird that we give our characters trauma? Anyways, yeah, I think, you know, she's just a sort of character that is inherently good despite the things that have happened to her, and she is flawed a little bit, but she's also just so quiet. And I think this goes for a lot of my different like characters, is like they're such quiet, gentle souls who are just I don't know, they're just like inherently good. Does that make sense? Like they're kindred spirits. And a lot of like the surrounding characters always get so confused, just like I am, because they're like, how are you so forgiving? How are you so empathetic toward me? Like, how are you not screaming inside? And they're like, I am screaming inside, but I don't want to show it. Like, I don't need to show it because I quell it and I seclude it and I let it go. And I learned so much from Jody, especially throughout her story. It's really hard to explain again without context, but she's just a sort of character that you just like, you look at her and you go, wow, like she's very courageous in just everything she's been through. And despite that, she still chooses justice like over the easy way out. Does that make sense? Like, she's just good. She has a good heart. And yeah. I don't know. I love Jody. I also love her name. Her name's actually Grace in the book, but she's called Jody by her brother. So yeah, fun fact. Okay, my next character. I have no idea how long this episode's going for, so sorry, but I'm gonna continue rambling. And if you're listening right now, I hope you like it, which means the world, guys. What the heck? You literally listen to me like just talk and ramble and like stutter over my words. So thank you again. Just thank you so much for supporting me. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the next character, Usi, that I love. Okay, look, this one is actually, sorry, I kind of like, this one is actually a outlier within my little list. This is Ned. Ned from Project Ghost. If you guys don't know, he's a ghost, I guess, in this book. And I don't know what, he's bad. And I think that's the reason why I love him. Similar to the main character of Project Ghost, who is Red, so Red and Ned, they're both ridiculously bad people who are hurt. And they do bad things, and they're very rude and mean and hurtful. Yet they're so real and like tangible and flawed to the point where, I don't know, it's so hard to explain like the connection I have with Ned. And of course, I honestly think it's because of the book. If you're not going to read it anytime soon, but hopefully if I ever publish this book, you guys will hopefully understand why. Because I think the connection between Red and Ned and me and Ned is the whole point of the book. And it's really hard to explain because you're probably like, Anna, what the hell are you talking about? If you only knew. It's really hard to explain. But basically, Ned is a bad person. He manipulates Red. He like endangers her. I could say so much. But basically, he's a bad character. He's a bad person. And I just somehow connect with him, and he's just so intoxicating because he is very good looking. He's very charming. He's very flirtatious and delicious just to be around. He's very rebellious, and the things he says, you just want to listen to him. And I think he's just intoxicating and so different to me. That's like why I kind of feel like, yeah, he's cool. He's just cool. And I would want to be his friend, because sometimes friends who are not, then it's not like Ned is not nice to me or nice to the other characters. He cares about them. But it's just he has such a intricate heart. And I think in the book I explain it through Red's eyes, the main character. And she thinks that she thinks, so Red thinks, the main character, she's like, Ned has a heart that belongs in a museum, something that's like eternal, something that belongs inside a glass box that can only be touched by gloved hands. And even so, when you go and look at the box, if you go look at his heart, you can't see all the sides. You can only see this one side. And in the book, she talks about wanting to touch it, wanting to open it up and dissect it and get his blood on her hands, because he just is so... It's like opening a box and like wanting to know what's inside. It's just like opening his heart and like wanting to know why it's so hard to open. Does that make sense? I hope this is making sense. But that's Ned. Ned's really cool. I talk about him a lot in a lot of my videos, so you guys probably know him pretty well. Okay, the final character. I know I've been talking for too long. Okay, I'm gonna finish off with the character that you probably don't know about. This is Harlow from Project BB. If you don't know, Project BB is a book I've been pantsering for like 3 years. It was like the first my first project I ever worked on when I started to write a couple years ago. So it's crazy it's taken me this long and I'm still not even close to the end. It's like at 76k and I don't have a plan for it. Like literally as soon as I started it, I started chapter 1 and just kept writing. That's how it went. In the book, I spontaneously created a character called Harlow. And Harlow, oh my god, I love it. And it's really interesting because a lot of the characters, at least in this list, are my age, around my age, like 19, 20 to 23. I think Alex, for example, is 23 or 24. But it's very close to my age because I'm 19 right now. But Harlow is like around 11 or 12, or I think even younger. I think in the book I made her like 9 or 8. Something very young, but she's very mature, I guess, for her age, but also not. She's a kid. She's a freaking kid. And I think that's why, honestly, I have such a soft spot for her, because the main character, Robin, does. Robin, you probably heard about Robin, but Robin is the main character and she's a thief. She does really risky stuff, and all her life she's just not wanted to have any connections with anyone until she meets Harlow, who kind of softens her heart and breaks her heart because now she has someone to protect. Hollow, and it's just so cute because Hollow now thinks of her as like a mother. Oh my god! And Hollow's so pretty. She actually has like, she doesn't have an arm. She has really long, beautiful hair, and she has very good hearing. I think she has like a hearing sort of power because in this book it's kind of like a magic system sort of thing. But she's been through a lot. I think she was outcasted because of her amputated like arm. She just wasn't born with an arm. And I think that's really interesting because I think like in the book everyone expects her arm to have been chopped off or to be like amputated off and stuff like that. Like something must have happened to cause it, but no, she was actually just born like that. And I think this specifically came from the idea of watching Luca. I don't know if you watched Luca, the Disney film, and the guy, I think the father of, or at least like, you know, the fisher guy who's really big and he looks like that guy from Clouding the Chance with Meeple, whatever, and like he doesn't smile, you know that character? The dad of the curly haired girl. Yeah, I think so. Anyways, he has an amputated arm and he was just born like that. Like people think like, oh my gosh, he must have been like eaten by like a big shark. Like, wow, you must be so correct. But like, no, he's just like that because he's like that. And I don't know why, but I wanted to represent that. And it's interesting because it's actually like it's exactly how it is in that movie. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's kind of copying. But I don't know, man. It just had to happen like that. And like, I don't know. I love Harlow because it's not because I empathize for her. It's just her courage despite what has happened to her and the sort of prejudice that's been against her because of this little thing and the actual physical, troubles that she's had to go through. And, you know, it's just so sweet the way that she continues to just want to help people and depend on people, and she's not scared to depend on Robin and want Robin to be safe. Like, she has been turned down her whole life and been like cast out since her parents' death. And I think as soon as she found Robin, she wasn't scared to reach out again. At least not at first, but well, not at first she was, but eventually she's learned to do that. And just like that courage that she must have had gone through to be able to accept someone else's hand. And like, I just love Harlow. Like the connection between Harlow and Rudd. I get mixed up. Harlow and Robin, the main character of Project BB, that connection is so beautiful, and I literally scream every single time I reread something or just think about them together. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm gonna cry. I need to finish that book. This is a reminder for me to finish that book. Wow, okay, that's great. Anyways, I guess that's the end of that little list that I had. Only 5 characters, and I think like these are the ones that really do kind of trigger some sort of you can clearly have you saw throughout this episode. And I think interestingly, I really thought hard about the 5th character I wanted to include, and that's of course Harlow. And Harlow is a sub character; she's not a main character. And I thought it was really interesting. I thought like why, like surely there's also very influential side characters, so maybe you can have a think yourself about not only your main characters, what are your favorites, but also the sub characters and maybe how you can make them more lovable and more important, not so much in the book but more important to you and the other characters. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening in. It means the world, literally the world. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great day and give your characters a big hug for me. Thank you. I want to hug them so bad. I want to hug like all my characters because yes, of course, we believe our characters are real because we're delusional. We're not delusional. We're just so good at creating characters that they seem real. And they are real because they're people in our mind. Anyways, I don't know what I'm saying. I love you guys. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.